Hello again. Welcome to part 2 of my Vision Jet tour from Western Washington to Eastern Washington and back to Western Washington. This will be the return trip from Walla Walla, that's KALW, back to Boeing Field, KBFI, and we'll be following an IFR route which includes a standard arrival. This will be the Chins 5 arrival, so we'll talk a little bit about what that looks like. And the first thing we're going to do is take a look at the route along the way, make sure the weather is up to scratch, and that we feel comfortable flying this route. Take a look at Sky Vector. I already have the route pre-plugged in. Here's Walla Walla on the east side of the Cascade Mountains, showing clear 10 statute miles of visibility, winds variable to 6 knots, temperatures 26, dew point 0.07, and an altimeter of 3011. Very good, high pressure, good weather situation today. We'll fly from the ALW VOR, that's the Walla Walla VOR right next to the airport, to the Pasco VOR, pick up the Victor 204 airway exiting at the Yakima VOR, then pick up the Victor 4 to Chins, and then fly the Chins 5 arrival all the way in. So it looks like clear and a million all the way. There's just a few clouds at Seattle. Winds are 330, 7 gusting 16, so a little bit of a breeze here. Chances are that we are going to be landing to the north today. We'll file and fly at 20,000 feet. This is a westbound, so we need an even number. And we'll get that done with SimBrief today. So this is a Navigraph product. I have SimBrief ready to go. KALW to KBFI with an alternate of Olympia. Departure time right about now in the SF50 Vision Jet. November 9, 26 Tango Charlie. We have manually put in the altitude of 20,000 feet. It does look like they're expecting runway 32 left with the departure of runway 20 at Walla Walla. The selected route here, Walla Walla Pasco V204, Yakima V4, Chins, and the Chins 5 arrival. You can see right here it's the top suggested route and is valid, good to go. This shape lines up with what we saw on Sky Vector. All that's looking correct. So I'll go ahead and hit Generate Flight. All right, there we have it. Direct ALW, direct Pasco, Victor 204, Yakima, Victor 4, Chins, and the Chins 5 arrival with KBFI 32 left. And I'll go down to pre-file on a network and pre-file it on Pilotedge. This is very nice. Look at how it does this. Everything looks good to me. Filed. And into the sim we go. All right. As you remember from part 1, I've got the same setup. I've got an A320 thrustmaster stick on my left, mounted on this ram mount here to be canted slightly forward to mimic the Vision Jet's side stick. I have the one power lever, which is a fantastically simple control scheme for the Vision Jet. My Octavi IFR1 mounted on top of my Honeycomb Bravo will take care of tuning and dialing frequencies and a few other things that matter to me. I've got my tablet mounted here on my Honeycomb Bravo yoke, but outside of the switches that I'll be using for engine and lights controls, I won't be using the yoke for anything. It's all going to be this stick right here. So let me go ahead and turn off the back cam so you can see a little bit more of the cockpit around me here. Welcome to beautiful Walla Walla. It's an absolutely sunny day, gorgeous, not a cloud in the sky. November 926 Tango Charlie sitting here on the ramp, doors open, covers and things still on, taking advantage of the good weather, soaking up some of that sun. We're about ready to rock and roll though, so we should get started. So first things first, let me work over here and close this bad boy up. Alright, that feels pretty good. Let's make sure we're fueled up 80%, so 80% in each tank, 120 gallons in each tank. Pilot, co-pilot. We'll take a passenger along and put some baggage on there. 5830 of a 6,000 pounds. That looks pretty good, so we'll close that down. So just popping back to the browser for a second, we're going to use Flight, and I want to talk with you about sort of the only real tricky bit on this return is the standard arrival procedure. So if we look up the CHINS 5, let's get an understanding of what this looks like. There we go. So the CHINS 5 arrival has us coming in from one of several locations. We're starting at Yakima. The first restriction that we run into on the CHINS 5 arrival is at RADI. This is where we're going to get communication from ATC to let us know what direction Boeing is landing. We've already looked at it and we know it's north. So we should expect to cross RADI at 12,000. That's actually not true. Look here. Landing BFI runways 32 left and right. We should expect to cross RADI at 11,000 and maintain 11,000 until we are given further instructions. And you can see here, if I scroll down, the Yakima transition over Yakima Vortec to CHINS, thence from CHINS on the Yakima 284 to RADI, then on C1042 Hump, then CR1042 Auburn, thence, if we are landing north, heading 250 for vectors to final approach course. So we'll be expecting vectors for the final approach course, and that means that we need to think about what our intended approach would be. But really you can see RADI there, maintain 11,000, Hump landing south, no factor, and then landing south Auburn turbojet maintain 12,000 if you are not already having already been given instructions, which we expect that we would be given instructions of 11,000. So what approach would we figure on? I personally would like to get vectors for the ILS runway 32 left, so why don't we intend on that and ask for that and see what they give us, and if we don't get what we want, then we will work with ATC to get something that works well. But I'd like to get vectors, and so that's what we'll do. We'll fly the CHINS 5 arrival, and then we'll expect and ask for vectors 32 left. So power up. And like we did last time, go ahead and pop this tablet out. We'll keep that up with us for just a second. Static, we'll take the chocks out, the covers and protectors off. We'll put our headphones on. Pack some luggage in there. And as everything begins to come online, what we're going to do is, you can see I've got the PFD split this time. I'm not sure I did that on the last one, but I've found I don't mind having the checklist here. This is a nice place to put it, so I'm going to put the checklist right here on my PFD. Okay, before engine start, pre-flight inspection complete and door is latched. We know we just did that. Parking brake as required. I'll keep the parking brake engaged. BAT 1 and BAT 2 switches on. They are. Gen 1 and Gen 2 switches on. They are. They're right there. External GPU as needed. It is not necessary today. Verify active FADEC channel is displayed. It does show FADEC channel A there, just below the thrust meter. And below percent thrust indication. Procedure complete. Perfect. Okay, engine start. Strobe lights on. I'll flick that on with my hardware. CAS messages checked, just the parking brake, that's good. Thrust lever to idle, so we'll go ahead and make sure that that's, so I'm going to shove it forward, I'm going to pull it all the way back. Thrust lever is idle. Good. And brakes, we'll hold the brakes. Engine knob to run, and fuel pump check. We'll listen for the fuel pump, and we'll see fuel pump on CAS message is displayed. Verify engine start, BAT temper, engine start volts, CAS message is not displayed. They're not. Time to start this up. Engine start. Alright. Monitor the engine instruments. We are going to expect at 25% N2 positive N1 indication. We do see N1 is going up. That's good. We're looking for ITT, anything exceeding limits. We're all in the green so far. N2 is spinning into the green. We got negative 99 on the batteries because it's nasty. It's taking a big old drain. And positive. Okay, good. Gallons per hour is good. We got 240 gallons. We're looking good there. N1 and N2 are stabilized. ITT, oil, temperature, and pressure are all stable. No weird ass CAS messages or anything like that telling us there's a problem. EIS check all normal. We did. Engine IPS is required. That's the anti-icing protection system. We don't need that. External GPU disconnect. Yeah. Oh, and ECS control panel set. Yeah, absolutely. Let's get a little bit of air conditioning in here. Beep. Oxygen master switch. Verify on. It's right there. Avionics initialization, all in it's complete. All right, let's go do that right now. Utilities, initialization, system tests.
Fire, 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 fire.
There is not really a fire.
Stall, stall, stall.
Good, both of those are done. And initial fuel, sink to 240 gallons, that's what shows on our tanks. Weight and balance, payload 230 of cargo of 50. Operating weight, crew and stores are 400. Yes, and with the weight 5837, which is below 6,000, we're good to go on that. Outstanding. Okay, next, flight plan. So let's do KALW. Enter. KBFI. Enter. Good, that looks good. And then I'm going to modify the flight plan in just a minute. I'm going to hit SimBrief, and look at this. KALW KBFI ready for request. I don't know which one it is, but let's try this one. KALW to ALW to the Victor 204 to Yakima, V4 to CADED, and then the Chin's arrival. Interesting. So CADED, what is that? Let's zoom the map. Okay, CADED is right there past Yakima before Chin's. That looks correct. I don't know why it says CADED, but that looks like the right flight plan to me. And it doesn't have an approach or a departure, but that's fine. We'll modify that if we hear that that's something that clearance wants us to do. So that's initialization. Good. Caps pin removed and stowed. That'd be up here. It'd be hanging from right that hole right there. It is removed. Passengers briefed. Seatbelt secured. Bleed switch to fresh air. Or fresh air switch to bleed. Excuse me. Bleed is on. Groovy. Okay. Before taxi, comm and nav GPS set. So we're going to get our comms set up. We're going to use navcom down here at the bottom. I like this. This is pretty good. And I'll use my Octavi. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to check that we have audio with Pilotedge. So we're going to set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to set fingers in COM 1, COM 2, and be sure we're monitoring both. Then I'm going to transmit November 926, Tango Charlie, radio check. That sounds pretty good to me. So we've got a connection to Pilotedge, and we're all set there. So what comms do we want? Well, the first thing we want to do is we're going to get weather at Walla Walla. So that's 135.875. Now, you're not going to hear it. I need to pull it up on the ATC window here. So you got to read that. Okay, wind calm. Visibility 10, skies clear, temperature 26, dew point 10, altimeter 3011. And I'm just going to mark on my own sheet that we want runway 20. Okay, altimeter 11, so I'll use my Octavi and dial in 3011. And let's verify that we're at 1180 feet, and that is in fact the, excuse me, that is in fact the elevation of our airport. 1174 feet. Yep, that's good. Baro is set. Now, what other comms do we need? So I know that in Pilotedge we need to be, if we don't have line of sight, we need to be pretending that we're talking on the phone, which is 122.2. And Walla Walla's tower frequency, or in this case the CTAF, because it's not simulated to be a tower at airport, is 118.5. On COM 2, I'd like to dial 1215, which is our guard frequency, and then we'll plug in the next ATIS as we get close to KBFI. Okay, good there. Comms are set. Nav is flight plan. That's going to be our magenta needles. And then as we get in for our procedure for the ILS, we'll be sure that the ILS frequency is loaded into the nav radios. So we'll call that done. I don't know why it doesn't mark that one as done, but it never does. So next comes ATIS and clearance obtained. So we're going to call 122.2 and pick up our IFR from Walla Walla to Boeing Field. Spokane departure, good day. Vision Jet 9026 Tango Charlie on the ground Walla Walla to pick up our IFR to Boeing Field.
Niner 26 Tango Charlie, Spokane approach standby.
Okay. What else can we do? Altimeter set. Heading and initial altitude set. Well, we can't do initial altitude until we hear what they want to give us, but we know we're going to be flying heading 200 out of here. So that one we've done. Flight controls free and correct. We'll do that in a second. Trim of 6 degrees. That's one we can do right now. So I'm holding trim button to get a trim of 6 degrees. Looks good. Flaps 50%. And we're watching the flaps come down to 50. Good. Electric roll trim set. Toga button press. That's going to be down here. Press that, and we'll see takeoff shown on the green on the on the annunciator. The information bar for the autopilot plus the mustache for the flight director goes up to 10 degrees. Cast messages check. So far, so good. Seats must be in normal upright position. Okay, the rest is dependent.
Niner 26 Tango Charlie, clear to Boeing Field Airport as filed. Maintain 10,000. Expect flight level 20010 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 128.75. Squawk 5053. Hold for release.
Cleared to the Boeing Airport as filed. Climb maintain 10,000. Expect flight level 200 in 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 128.75. Squawk 5053. Hold for release. Vision Jet 9026 Tango Charlie.
Your 926 Tango Charlie, advise ready for departure.
Will advise 6 Tango Charlie. Alright. They did not say read back correct, but it is correct.
Casper Tower, Walker 4751, short at 21, ready to go.
5053. Enter. Okay, good. And we'll dial in 12875 just on COM 2 as a scratch pad. That'll be good. And initial altitude we will set to 10,000. That was what we were told, so just spin my knob here until we get 10,000 on the old head altitude bug. Okay, 10,000 set and initial heading is set. So let's go back on our checklist and make sure that we got all that done.
Okay, 4751 Casper Tower after departure, flighting 230, runway 21, clear for takeoff.
Set. Flight controls free and correct.
21, clear for takeoff, heading 230.
Okay,
Walker 4751.
There's 733 Bravo, contact Oakland Center 132.2.
Flight controls free and correct.
Say again, please, for 3 Bravo Echo.
Seats in upright position. Parking brake release.
Bravo, Oakland Center
Brakes check.
132.2.
Parking brake off.
Over to center on 13.
Change it to 118.5. And let Walla Walla know we're getting ready to go here. Walla Walla traffic, Vision Jet 926 Tango Charlie, northeast parking, taxi runway 20, Walla Walla. This guy looks like he owns a road. Okay, buddy, that's your business. Oops. Get back on that yellow brick road. Right. And we're coming up to the restricted movement area here. We let folks know what we were up to. If it was towered, we'd have to talk to ground, make sure they let us go through, but it's not simulated as towered, so off we go. Coming up here, the ILS critical area we're getting into here. You can see the markings on the ground. Got a Cessna Mustang, Citation Mustang up there. I've tried flying that. It's got its quirks. You got to go and connect the battery in the back there, otherwise it doesn't turn on. That was absolutely an unexpected and unwelcome surprise. It took me like half an hour to figure out. Alright, now as we approach runway 20, you're going to see hold short markers for 25, and that has something to do with this airport not being modeled correctly in Microsoft Flight Simulator, but you have my assurance that runway 20 is past these markers. I mean, so is runway 25, but that's 20 right there. I think we all see that. Alright. Okay, now before takeoff checklist set there, let's go ahead and get ourselves our clearance, our IFR release. So we'll switch back to 122.2. Spokane approach, Vision Jet 9026 Tango Charlie's number 1 ready to go at Walla Walla, awaiting IFR release.
Niner 26 Tango Charlie, release for departure, change to advisory frequency approved.
Release for departure, change to advisory frequency, 926 Tango Charlie. Sweet. So that was easy. So we're going to switch to advisory. We'll go 1AT5 set, and then we're going to dial 12875 because we know that's departure, and that comes up next. So comms are ready to go. Let's do our before takeoff checks. So departure briefing, we're going to depart runway 20. If we lose the engine below 700 feet, we'll pull the caps lever and pop the chutes. If we lose it, below 700 we land straight ahead. But between 700 and 2,000 we pop the chute. If we're above 2,000 we can diagnose the engine and potentially come back for a landing. But if we dip below 2,000 on the way and before we've diagnosed and decided, we'll pop the chute for safety. We're going to take off 20 and head straight for Pasco because we'll cross the ALW VOR on our way out. Landing lights as required, so we'll go ahead and pop those landing lights on. Probe heat switch on. Yes, that is very important to do. Engine IPS switch as required. We do not need anti-icing, and we do not need wing stabilization anti-icing. Checking CAS messages. I got one that says V speeds. That means we need to turn our V speeds markers on. Speed bugs, takeoff, all on. Rotate, VX, and VY are set. Okay, back to Navcom. Alright, verify trim at 6. It is. Verify flaps at 50. They are. Takeoff emergency battery CAS message not displayed. It's not. Multifunction windows configure. We are configured. The only thing I want to do is I want to put my traffic a little further out. 12 and 24. And then we'll pop over here. And we're going to zoom ours in just a little bit more. 50 nautical miles range. That's good. Alright, takeoff's going to look like this. We hold our brakes. Thrust lever to takeoff position, check normal engine instruments, release the brakes, rotate at 90 knots, pitch up for 5 degrees, landing gear up with positive rate of climb, flaps at 115. And then we got our climb checklist ready to go. Alright, I'll go ahead and pop the back cam on so you can watch how this goes. And I'll go ahead and fix my view so you can see the PFD as we go. Walla Walla traffic, 9026 Tango Charlie, taking off runway 20, departure to the west, Walla Walla. Right, nice and easy, everybody. Runway 20 coming up here on the left, but don't be fooled. That's 25 I'm looking at. Just keep turning left, go through the yellow brick road. 20 is what I'm entering into right now. Now, why am I not in the full back all the way back in the runways? Because the way this airport's designed in Flight Simulator, you have to go through grass to do that, which is not something I will be doing in this Vision Jet. Thank you very much. Okay, we're ready for takeoff. Takeoff, lever all the way forward. Thrust to 100%. Takeoff thrust shows in the CAS. Everything looks good. Engine instruments are in the green. Brakes are off. Keep on that center line and watch for the speed to come up. Okay, airspeed's alive. We're looking for 90 knots. $80, $85, $90. Pull back on the stick, rotate, 5 degrees. Positive climb, gear up. $115, flaps up. We're gonna make that right turn for Pasco at 1600. Which is what we're allowed to do. 400 feet off the departure end of the runway, 1600, right turn for Pasco. I'm going to bring the throttles back away from takeoff power. Keep that nose down. And we're turning at standard rate. Little bumpy out here today. Trying to keep that nose down with trim so we don't underspeed. We're going to be climbing about 165 knots. I'm going to deflect just a little bit to the right of our bearing so we can get back on the CDI, and then I'm also going to activate nav mode on the autopilot. Whoa! And FLC mode. And I'll hit the autopilot master switch. FMS engaged, FLC climb engaged for 10,000 feet. I'll go ahead and turn off the back cam. And we should see a slight turn to the left. I'm going to go ahead and adjust the thrust a little bit just to get it to the very top of MCT before it hits takeoff thrust. I backed off the throttle way too far. There we go. We'll just leave the power setting there. And we're climbing at 2,400 feet per minute, which is really nice. Okay, climb. Thrust lever to MCT. Engine parameters monitor. Everything looks healthy. Cabin pressure monitor. Ice protection is required. And altimeter transition altitude will be at 18,000 feet. Let's go ahead and call departure. Spokane departure Vision Jet 9026 Tango Charlie's 5,000 feet climbing 10,000.
926 Tango Charlie, Spokane approach ident.
Ident, 6 Tango Charlie.
For 926 Tango Charlie, radar contact 7 miles west of Walla Walla, Tri-Cities, altimeter 3008, contact Saddle Center 132.6.
1326. Roger, radar contact. Thanks for 3008. Position checks. Contact in Seattle Center 132.6. 6 Tango Charlie. Seattle Center, good day. Vision Jet 9026 Tango Charlie's through 7,000, climbing to 10,000. sync up my head and bug gear.
Air 90216 at Charlie, Seattle Center, climb and maintain flight level 200.
Climb and maintain flight level 200, 6 Tango Charlie. Yeah, there you go. That was nice and quick for Seattle Center. We're going all the way up to 200. Ah, beautiful stuff, huh? Turn on the noise reduction. And just enjoy the ride. Out of Walla Walla with no muss, no fuss, and rockin' and rollin'. Ground speed right now 184 knots. That'll speed up as we get higher up and once we level off and go full bore on just moving forward. Okay, we're just about to cross 10,000, climbing at healthy about 1600 feet per minute. There's 10,000, climbing for 20,000 feet, and that's going to be our final cruising altitude. We're not going to stay up there very long. We'll have to plan for our descent and come on down pretty darn quick, but that's okay. That's Vision Jet life for you. Once we cross 18,000, we'll set our altimeter to the transition altitude of 29902. That's our standard altimeter above 18,000 feet, and then we'll be sure to bring that back down once we're descending below 18,000 feet for our final destination of Boeing Field on the Chins 5 arrival. So we would expect that our first descent point would be Ratty. Ratty is where we're going to need to be at the designated altitude that we're given by Seattle Center or Seattle Approach, whichever one's in control of us at that time. We're expecting it'll be, I think, 11,000. Let me see if that's true. Because we're landing BFI 32 left, we'll expect 11,000 feet. We'll have to cross Ratty at 11,000 feet. In fact, maybe we plug that into our descent calculator and figure out what makes sense for a top of descent point, because it's probably going to be up to us. We should be thoughtful about how that should work. Do 12,500, climbing 20,000. Ain't no bird thing. Okay, 13,000. Pasco's about 5 minutes away. Crossing 14,000. So what would it look like if we did plug into our descent calculator? Home, flight plan. So I would pop down here. Oh, look at that. Ratty, 11,000 feet. It's already in there. How about that? So what's VNAV think? So VNAV active waypoint is cruising altitude of 20,000 feet. We're not going to get a top of descent mark until we're closer to that. So we'll come back to it in a second. But it's nice to see that Ratty is already set up. Is there anything else? The FL200 and FL199 are advisory, but it's not a requirement. So you can change your speed and flight path angle if you need to, but down 3 degrees and 250 knots is completely cromulent, and I am not going to mess with it. Looking at my MFD right now, thrust is at 69. It's a max continuous thrust there at the blue mark. And engine instruments are looking really good. Everything's in the green. We've burned down 240 minus 223, 222. That's 18 gallons. So that's not too terribly bad. Batteries and gens are looking good. Landing gear up, flaps are up, pitch trim and roll trim are nice and even. Let's take a look at our cabin altitude. So that's going up as we would expect. Now 5,000 altitude rising. Pressure differential is 4.3 pounds per square inch, which is in the green. Our destination elevation of 18 feet looks right for Boeing Field, and we're at a good rate. No traffic observed, 24 miles around, and we are on a straight and narrow until we hit Yakima, which looks like it's about, cumulative distance about 70 miles away. We'll be there in 20 minutes. 17,000 feet coming up on us now there. Once we cross 18,000, we'll push the Barrow to standard. Yeah, look at that, 17,000. And Pasco now in 3 minutes. Ground speed is now up to 197 knots. Once we get to our cruising speed, we can estimate our time on the ground at Boeing Field, but we need to kind of figure out what our actual cruising speed is going to be. We're going to have a headwind of at least 20 knots that's going to make things a little bit rougher on us, but we'll be able to get a good clip going. So, just getting a view out there. Beautiful, isn't it? Alright, there's transition altitude of 18,000, so we're just going to go up here and we're just going to click this barometric stick in. Now it's standard baro and a preset of 3008, so we can change that preselector to whatever our ground altitude is going to be once we get ready for descent, and then we can very easily click the stick and just set it to that. So it's a nice time and effort saver feature. Got my noise canceling headphones on. We got the AC cranked and blasting. Maybe a little bit colder in here. See how the passengers are feeling. How you feeling back there? Yeah, pretty good. And going to be coming up now here in just 1,200 feet on our cruising altitude of 20,000. We'll level it out. We'll establish cruising speed, and then we'll use the auto throttles just to keep that cruising speed from overspeeding. So, using all the functionality we have at our disposal. Alright, we'll go ahead and complete this climb checklist, and now we're at the cruise checklist. So, thrust lever as required, ice protection as required, and monitor the engine instrumentation. Pretty easy cruise checklist, huh? Out there in the distance, you can start to see the mountains. Right ahead of us, I believe, is Mount Rainier. We'll be passing that just off our left side, and then I believe that's Mount Adams south of that. So, all right, you can see we're in Alt S mode. That's pre-selector mode, and now we're in altitude heading mode. The vertical speed has gone down to 0, and speed is starting to come up. Ground speed now 220 and rising. So there's our 20,000 cruise altitude. Our throttle setting is all the way up to MCT. And we'll just let that speed come up. Our maximum cruise speed, the speed that we have the FMS set for, is Mach 0.520. You can see as we crossed past transition altitude, the speed units changed to the Mach number. So we'll be at 0.52 the speed of sound at our maximum cruising speed, if we can attain it. It's possible that at 20,000 with with current wind conditions, perhaps we won't get as fast as that, but it looks like it's somewhere around 235 knots indicated. Our TAS here of 280 and our ground speed of 262. ISO shows plus 12C, so it's a warmer than standard day, which sounds about right. It's very warm, but despite all that, it's still minus 14 Celsius, still 14 Celsius below freezing up here. But it's a dry freeze, and no issue with icing, nothing like that, no concerns that I have. We can poke our head out, we can see, we don't see any ice crusting on the windshield, nothing looks funny, so we'll just continue on. 216 knots indicated, creeping up slowly, 278 over the ground, 279 over the ground, so we're starting to do our cruising performance that we've come to expect and want from this wonderful aircraft. So I'm going to hit flight plan and go to VNAV again. Aha! There we have it. Top of descent now, 16 minutes, and you can see it's going down by 2 seconds per second, so it's dealing with the fact that we have increasing speed, so we're not there yet. But we should expect something like maybe 10, 12 minutes to the top of descent. You can see right here, it looks like it's right. I'm going to show you my MFD, because what the VNAV system is doing is predicting top of descent point, which likes it's just past KDED and right before chins. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Now, as you can see, our speed is still creeping upward very slowly, 228. The barber pole is coming into view here. We do not want to exceed that speed. That is dangerous for our airframe and everybody aboard. Top of descent marks are now kind of slowing down in terms of how fast the clock is running, so we're getting toward our maximum cruising speed. I'm just going to let that drift up just a little bit more, and then I'll go ahead and plug in the auto throttle, which will hold us at 0.52 if it can, or wherever below can be held at max, the max thrust in the green arc, which is I'm hoping that I'm not higher than MCT.
Skyhawk 733 Bravo Echo has
right.
India for Reno.
Auto throttle is on. The throttle is reducing to the green arc.
4751, maintain flight level
Mach
240.
0.515.
Descend, maintain flight level 240, Walker 4751.
13.5 minutes to top of descent. It hasn't changed. It's just there before chins.
3 Bravo Echo, thank you. Contact NorCal approach 119.2.
And ground speed
NorCal on
305
119.2.
knots.
Thank you. 3 Bravo Echo.
Alright, so our thrust lever has been set. Ice protection is not needed, and engine instruments monitor. Great. Next will come our descent checks when we're ready to come on down. And there's that Mach. We just touched Mach 0.52.
133 Bravo Echo, NorCal approach Reno, altimeter 3012. Thanks for India.
Just a beauty, isn't it? What a cool plane. And what a way to travel. I'm looking so forward to doing this for real. You have no idea. I can't believe I'm going to get to fly this plane. Alright, so the Mach numbers are coming down a little bit. You can see Mach 0.5. I'm guessing at 55% thrust in the green arc, which is where the auto throttle holds. We can't hold Mach 0.52 or near it with 55% thrust. Now we're burning 75 gallons per hour. We have the opportunity, if we wanted to, we could goose the throttle up to MCT and just keep it there manually. But I don't mind being a little more predictable, keeping it on the auto throttle, keeping it in the green arc for engine health, and getting there just a few minutes later. So. This does mean that top of descent mark is probably... Well, the clock is still running okay, 12:15 or so. I think we're settling out at Mach 0.488. Maybe not. .285 knots ground speed. We're expected to be on the ground, looks like 25 minutes from now. Let's verify that. Time now is 22 after the hour, expecting to be down at 47 after the hour. That's 25 minutes from now. Just about to cross PAPS, then Mark, then the Yakima via VOR. Speed now at 0.483. Top of descent, 11 minutes. We can see Mount Rainier is coming much clearer here in the foreground, and I do believe that is Mount Adams to... Or is that Mount St. Helens? Ooh, tricky. So straight ahead, Mount Rainier. St. Helens, St. Helens, St. Helens. Gilbert Peak. St. Helens at 8,300 feet. And Mount Hood at 11,299. Mount Hood would be a little closer to us, but a little bit to the left. No, that's Mount Adams. I know what I'm talking about. Okay. Let's dial in 12775 on COM2. That is Boeing Field weather.
And hold short instructions.
Ooh, I can pick it up just barely.
On initial contact, you have information Charlie.
Charlie at Boeing Field. Hey, that's
Apropos.
apropos.
8, information Charlie. 18530. Wind 290 at 7. Visibility 10.
Salt Lake Walker
Condition
4751 requesting Walla.
Temperature 21. 3.9 hour. Altimeter 3019 hour. Arriving and departing runway 32 left. 3 to right.
120.5 Walker 47.
Simultaneous approaches between Boeing Field and Seattle International. Expect aircraft above you on final. Read battle runway assignments and hold short instructions.
Walker 4751 down to approach altimeter 3011 to Symbio Bighorn 3 arrival. And expect runway 28 right.
Mach 0.48 looks like where we settled out at, which is just fine. That's a healthy 283 knots of ground speed. As we clear the Yakima VOR, we're going to take a slight right turn
3730 Bravo, Echo contact Reno Tower.
on our way to Chins for the Chins 5 arrival. We've got weather and information, Charlie, and it looks like traffic is landing north, so our expectation of 11,000 feet for
I just heard your call sign and then cut out.
for Ratty should hold.
Seven 33 Bravo Echo. Looks like you're on the base. Join the final runway 17 right, runway 17. Actually, I'll put you on the left side. Geo parking's on the left. Join final for runway 17 left. Runway 17 left, clear to land. Or 41828 Seattle Center. Confirm, are you airborne or on the ground? As filed, maintain 8,000, Seattle Center frequency 126.6, squawk 4520. Hold for release. Four 1828126.6 and the squawk 4520. Number 828, release, correction, advise ready for departure. 4751, you looking for the ILS or visual?
All right, we're making that right turn now after Yakima to get onto our final sort of arrival course, because it's a straight line all the way to the Auburn waypoint. I expect that we'll be vectored off before that. But let's take a look and make sure that we're all set here. We've got a top of descent about 5 minutes from now. So as we get a little bit closer, I want to get in touch with center and be absolutely sure that we're being being descended in time, because we
Walker
don't want to miss
4751,
our
turn
descent
left,
point.
heading 180.
Traffic
You
coming
can expect,
directly at me.
direct
Looks
Hardin,
like
and should maintain
2,600 feet
6,700.
below me. Coming opposite direction.
And you're looking for the RNAV or the ILS is the runway to it, right?
2,500 below me would be 17,500. Zoom, there it goes. Don't know who that was.
Walker 4751, expect that. Or 41828, release for departure, change to 5 frequency approved. Or 733, Bravo Echo, exit left, when able taxi to parking via Charlie, have a great day.
Do I get charts on this thing? Let's find out. No available charts, it says. What? Oh, let's see, I got the Chins 5 arrival here. Oh wow. Look at that. That is impossible to read. Get back to the map here. Flight plan, VNAV, top of descent now, 2 minutes. Seattle Center Vision Jet Enter 26 Tango Charlie. We got a top of descent mark about 2 minutes from now if we're going to get down to Ratty at 1000. Confirm Boeing Field is landing north.
Walker 4751, turn left, direct Hardin. For 926 Tango Charlie, contact Seattle Center 126.6 and Boeing, yes, is land north.
Thanks for Boeing North, and we will contact Center 126.6, 6 Tango Charlie. Seattle Center Vision Jet 926 Tango Charlie, flight level 200.
Tower 926 Tango Charlie, Seattle Center, Seattle altimeter 3020, and cross ready at maintain 2000.
Thanks for 3020 across Radiat and maintain 2000, 926 Tango Charlie. All right, let's go ahead and dial this back. We don't have a whole lot of time, so down,
Fargo
down,
4751, cross hardened at 7000 or
done.
above, cleared RNAV Zulu runway
And
28
we'll
right
hit,
approach.
we're going to go back, down. I'm going to hit
Seattle Center, Piper Aero 41828 is 1,700, climbing 8.
Enter, and I'm going to turn on VNAV
November
mode.
41828, Seattle Center, right down.
All right. So we're set. 12000. Cross Ratty at 12000. Ratty is the next.
November 41828, radar contact 2 miles west
5
of
minutes away.
Bellingham, Friday,
VNAV is set.
altimeter
12000 on the Magenta and 12000 on the bug.
Maintain 8,000.
Here's our glide path coming down. As soon as it does, we're going to start our descent automatically. The thrust lever is on auto throttle, and our descent schedule is descend at 250 knots, Mach 5.5, and 3-degree down angle. So the auto throttle will keep us from overspeeding as we come down, and we're now descending on the Chins 5 arrival to cross Ratty and maintain 2000 with the expectation of landing north on Boeing Field. So I will go back, I'll hit proc, I will preload the ILS 32 left approach. The ILS 32 left approach I know has minimums of 453 feet. Enter. And we're expecting a transition vectors, so I'll load that. Okay, we're loaded for vectors in the ILS 32 left, and we'll request that. Okay, descent checklist. Thrust lever as required. Yes. Landing field elevation. Yep, we've checked that already. 18. Ice protection is required. Not necessary. Altimeter transition altitude is coming up here pretty soon. So as soon as we cross below 18,000, we'll switch it to the local setting, which we already got, which is 3020. Seats and seatbelts secure, and descent checks will be complete. All right.
Seven, go ahead.
All right. And we'll hit the barrow and set to our preset altitude of 3020. Still on V path. Just need to make a little bit of an adjustment downward. Okay, that puts our deck at...
And I'm hearing 567, but I'm not getting the... What's the full call sign again?
Ooh, getting a little bumpy.
18567, Emerald, clearance, standby.
Okay, we've done our altimeter transition altitude. Seats and seatbelts secured. Good. Descent checks are complete. Next on to the approach checks. Okay, starting to get a little bit of bumpiness. Coming on down now. Ratty now 3 minutes, and we're coming
Number
down.
18567, this is VFR departure, taken destination.
We're going to come down 4,000 feet, and we're coming down at a rate of 1,500 a minute. In 4 minutes, we'll be down 6,000 feet. In 3 minutes, we'll be down 4,500 feet. So with 2.5 minutes to go, we are going to be just fine. Okay, below 16,000, descending for 12,000.
18567, thank you. And what's the equipment
Absolute
suffix?
great view of Rainier on our left as we come down.
For 18567.
Traffic 2,200 feet above us, opposite direction.
Sir, 18567, departure frequency 119.5, squawk 2652.
There he goes, right above us. Whoosh. Sweet. Okay, 14,500 now for 12,000 on our way down to Ratty. 1 minute 30 seconds.
You're 18567, advisory taxi.
We are right on the money. 250 knots. Coming in. Next we'll be given approach frequency, and that'll be our last ATC before we get on with tower. So let's get ready for that. Approach is maybe 125.9. Let's find out. I'll pre-bug it, and if we get lucky, we get lucky. Okay. 13.5, descending for 12,000.
Walker 4751, contact Billings Tower.
Coming over the Cascades into the lowlands and our home. Great stuff. 1,000 feet to go, getting the ding.
Walker 4751, Billings Tower, runway 28 right, clear to land.
Okay, I'm going to do a couple of things while I'm waiting here as we come down to 12,000. PFD speed bugs will set for landing, and we're going to check our VREF. So I'll go to aircraft system status and info and get the VREF off the MFD of 84 knots. So we'll plug 84.
And 18567, runway 22, taxi via
Set.
Papa.
Put that navcom back, and then put the map back. And I'm going to bring the map in a little closer since we're getting close. And we're level 1 at 2,000 as we cross Ratty just now. Continue on for waypoint Hump. And if we are landing north, we'll be expected vectors heading 250.
Another 26 Tango Charlie, contact Seattle approach 128.65.
Over to Seattle approach 128.65, 6 Tango Charlie.
Left, 16 right. Visual approaches in use, read back all and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact you have information golf.
Seattle Center on 126.6, November 926 Tango Charlie. 128.65 appears to be an ATIS. Verify frequency.
Ladder 926 Tango Charlie. Oh, sorry, I gave the wrong frequencies. 125.6, 125.6.
Thanks very much. Tune 125.6, 926 Tango Charlie. Seattle approach, good day. Vision Jet NR26 Tango Charlie is 2,000 feet on the Chins 5 arrival. We've got weather and information Charlie at Boeing Field. Looking for vectors for the ILS runway 32 left. This will be a full stop. And I'll go ahead and...
Ladder 26 Tango Charlie, Seattle approach, altimeter 3020, set to maintain 6,000. Expect ILS runway 32, left approach.
Thanks to 3020, descend and maintain 6,000. We'll expect the ILS runway 32 left, 926 Tango Charlie. Alright, we'll come down at 1,500 feet per minute. We'll just use the VS mode since we're hitting a manual heading. I've pre-bugged 120.6 in the standby for Boeing Tower, because we know we're going to get that. I've already loaded approach ILS 32 left, but haven't activated vectors to final yet.
Seattle clearance delivery, good morning. Citation 117 Charlie I, part 4.
Okay, let's brief the approach. I know you're not going to be able to see the plate, but I can try to pop it up later. The ILS 32 left is going to have us crossing the intercepting the glide slope at intersection Duane. That's 5
Sir,
miles
117 Juliet, Charlie, Seattle, clearance.
from the localizer.
Stand by.
Altitude 1,800 feet. We'll fly down to a decision altitude of 453. If we have to go missed, we'll climb on heading 315 to cross Seattle 8 DME at or below 1,700, so we have to stay low. Then a climbing left turn to 6,000 on heading 265 in the Seattle 310 radial to low fall.
Walker
And continue climbing and hold to 6,000, hold at low
clear
fall.
at Delta, going to the southeast side.
Walker, we're 4751 affirmative. Taxi via Alpha and monitor ground. Have a great day.
Alpha monitor ground, you too. Walker 4751.
Okay. And we're out of 10,000 now, descending 6,000
Amarillo
feet.
Tower, 18567 at Papa 5, ready for departure.
No 18567 Amarillo Tower, and course approved, runway 22, clear for takeoff.
So again, Duane
takeoff,
intersection
21527.
is going to be past Auburn. It's going to be, so it's Lacquer at 2,600, Duane at 1,800, and then on the glide slope to land runway 32 left at Boeing. So we have to come down a little bit. They may or may not vector us directly on from here. We may pass past it, or and have to come back around. Not sure what they want to do, but that's up to them. Okay, it's starting to get a little busier traffic-wise. We got someone 8,700 feet above us and 6,300 feet below us, so getting kind of sandwiched, but we have plenty of separation vertically between all of us. Okay, continuing down at 1,500 feet per minute, now 8,500 for 6,000. We are
117 Juliet,
8 miles
Charlie,
from
Seattle
Auburn.
clearance, clear to Portland International Airport, Seattle 9 departure, to Seattle, direct Blue Zone as filed, maintain 9,000. Expect flight level 19010 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 120.4, squawk 4140.
So I'm going to bring my speed down to 240 knots and turn the auto throttle off here.
Alright, citation 1172 Charles, clear to Portland International Airport. Seattle 9 departure, Seattle, direct Blue Zone is filed. Climb maintain 9, expect flight level 190, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency on 20.4 and squawk 4140.
There we go, 1 minute to go, and coming down at 1,500, we should cross 6,000 right at Auburn.
Expect runway 34 right. Correction, it's probably 34 left. But
Roger, expect 34 left.
1,000 feet to go.
Charlie, thank you.
Your 926 Tango Charlie, turn left, heading 170 vector localizer.
Left turn, heading 170, vector for the localizer, 926 Tango Charlie. Alright, set heading bug 170 and heading mode on the autopilot, and we're coming down 6,000. So they're giving us a little bit of a, looks to me like almost like a delay vector.
Your 926 Tango Charlie, vector through the localizer, descend and maintain 4,000.
Descend and maintain 4,000, vectors through the localizer, 926 Tango Charlie. Okay, coming down 4,000. And we'll have to restart vertical speed mode, down at 1,500 feet per minute. Continuing left turn through the localizer, 170. Definitely some traffic around. Someone below us at Auburn Municipal, maybe?
November 18567, contact departure.
Contact departure 18567.
There's Auburn Muni right there.
Departure arrow 18567
There is somebody right
at
there.
5,400.
Sir, 18567 Amarillo departure, thank you, radar. Contact altimeter 3013.
Okay, 600 feet to go.
3013 and 567.
Bring that thrust down to about 30%.
16 Charlie, flighting 140.
Fly heading 140, 6 Tango Charlie.
4182, disregard.
Alright, seats are in upright position. Ice protection is required, not necessary. Lights is required, already set. Flaps 50, airspeed 140. Once we get vectored...
6 Tango Charlie, continue left head heading, correction, continue left turn heading 040.
Continue left turn heading 040, 9026 Tango Charlie. Get vectored around Lake Tapps here. And as we go 040, we'll probably be picking up the localizer. I'm going to go ahead and go to proc and select activate vectors to final. Now we are on green needles. And we're below 210 knots. I'll go ahead and bring the gear down. Bumpy up here.
Heading 345, join the localizer.
Left turn heading 345, join the localizer 9026 Tango Charlie. And let's get our speed down below 190. We'll go flaps 50% once we're below 100.
6 Tango Charlie, 9 miles from Lactor, maintain 3000 until established localizer, cleared ILS, runway 32 left approach.
Maintain 3000 until established on the localizer. Cleared the ILS 32 left approach into Boeing Field, 9026 Tango Charlie. Okay, going down 3,000 feet. I'm going to go ahead and pre-arm the nav mode. Localizer is pre-armed. We're below 190 knots, which is the 50% speed for the flaps. So flaps are coming down to 50%. We expect the speed to drop down. We're going to maintain 140 knots. All right. Flaps 50, check. Okay, localizer has captured. And capturing 3,000. And watch that speed come down now as we come down below 140. I'll re-engage the auto throttles. Ooh. That felt like wind shear. Okay, auto throttles are on and holding a 140 knot speed. Alright, we are on the localizer now. So our plate says we can come down to 2600 at Lacquer.
926 Tango Charlie, Boeing Tower.
Vision Jet, Boeing Tower, Vision Jet 926 Tango Charlie, 2600 on the ILS runway 32 left with Charlie.
926 Tango Charlie, thank you. Wind 3007, runway 32 left, clear to land.
32 left, clear to land, 6 Tango Charlie. Alright, and we are past Lacquer, so now down
41828, contact
1800
Seattle
to
approach,
Dwayne.
120.4.
Minus 1500. Auto throttle got disengaged accidentally. So I'm going to go ahead and manually bring my speed down.
Amarillo approach 18567, request and cancel flight following.
18567, radar services terminated, squawk V5 frequency change approved.
Frequency change approved 18567.
Okay. Coming down to 1800 now. Trying to fly this 140 knots. Got the back cam on so you can see what I'm doing.
Seattle approach, Piper Aero 41828, 8000.
185, disregard. 41828, Seattle approach, ping altimeter 3021.
Okay, we got
Thank
glide
you.
slope alive.
41828.
Get ready to capture. AP activate approach mode. Glide slope is armed. For landing checks, down and locked. Yep, flaps is required. They're at 50%. Cabin pressure differential, 0 psi. Well, that's not true, but whatever. Windshield IPS switch off. Autopilot off. Airspeed VREF to VREF plus 10. Procedures complete. All right. Glide slope has captured. We're on descent. We're clear to land runway 32 left at Boeing. Keep that speed at 140 knots on our way down. Runway 32 left, now 4.4 miles. 3 mile final, we'll slow down. We'll go flaps 100, and we'll slow down to our approach speed of 100 knots. Okay, 1,000 feet to minimums. 3.9 mile final. Okay, 3 mile final.
Seattle ground,
Flaps
citation
to
117
100%.
Charlie, signature FBO, information Bravo, request taxi.
Okay, flaps are at 100%. At radar altimeter 500, I'll go ahead and take it manual. More power.
117 Juliet Charlie Seattle ground to runway 34 left taxi via Quebec Romeo.
34 left via Quebec Romeo, citation 172 Charlie.
$750 on the radar altimeter. 300 feet to minimums. Runway very clearly in sight. Continue approach. Clear for landing. 1.8 mile final. A little fast. Winds are going to be right to left. There's 500. Autopilot disengaged. Manual operation.
Minimums. Minimums.
Bring that throttle back just a little bit. Two reds, two whites. Aim point, speed. Bringing the throttles back just a little bit at a time. Want to cross at 85. 96, we're VREF plus 10. Holding a little bit of energy in case of wind shear. Air's starting to calm out. Bringing that throttle back. We're off center line, but we'll survive. Threshold, 85, VREF plus 1. Thrust to idle. Touchdown. Flaps coming up. And we'll roll out to the next.
Renata 26 Tango, you parking on the off Alpha or Bravo?
6 Tango Charlie, we're parking off Alpha, and we'll get off at Alpha 8.
Renata 26 Tango Charlie, taxi parking via Alpha 8 Alpha, cross runway 32 right at Alpha 8, monitor ground. Have a great day.
Taxi to parking via Alpha, cross runway 32 right at Alpha 8 to Alpha, and monitor ground. 6 Tango Charlie, thanks for the help. All right.
Pleasure.
Crossing. And we'll switch over to, there we go. And we're set. 1219.
Seattle Tower, citation 117 Juliet Charlie.
We're already cleared to
34 left,
taxi.
Romeo, ready.
No, 117 Joey Charlie, Seattle Tower, runway 34 left, clear for takeoff.
Switch paint.
Runway 30
Checklist.
left, clear for takeoff,
Utilities.
citation 172 Charlie.
Checklist. Landing, go around. After landing, flaps up. Yep, check. Wing stab IPS off, engine IPS off, probe heat switch off. Done. External lights as required. We'll turn the landing lights off. And brakes check. We've already checked those. We're good. Okay, next is shutdown, so let's go ahead and taxi where we gotta go. We'll just pop into the jet center here. Outstanding. Alright, thrust lever to idle. Gotta let it sit for 2 minutes prior to shutdown. That's fine. Engine IPS switch off. It is off. Alright, bleed air to fresh air. And we'll turn off the ECS. Oxygen master switch to off. Lights off. Alright, engine up to off. And engine stop. Sweet.
0117 Juliet Charlie, contact departure.
Departure 72 Charlie.
Chocks and covers.
Seattle departure, hello, citation 117 Juliet Charlie. It's 900 climbing 9,000.
And master
heading
off.
350.
0117 Juliet Charlie.
And there we are back home at Boeing Field. Beautiful. Great flight. I enjoyed it. Got a little bumpy there at the end. Made a couple of mistakes on that approach, but felt good, and I'd do it again. So thanks for joining me, and really appreciated having you aboard today. Hopefully the real flight will be just as smooth, and I'll get some video of that so everybody can see what it's like flying the Vision Jet. So, all right, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.